You do not get rich by chasing money. You become rich by becoming money itself. This principle may seem paradoxical to those raised in a culture that teaches us to hustle, grind, and chase the next dollar. But the greatest financial minds, those who've built enduring wealth and legacy, understand a deeper law of attraction, one that transcends transactions. Money is not the cause of wealth, it is the result. It is not the master, it is the servant. And it does not obey frantic motion. It responds to identity, value, and power. When you chase money, you position it as something external, something outside yourself, something separate from who you are. This mindset creates a gap, an energetic distance between you and the thing you desire. The more desperately you run after money, the more it eludes you because you are affirming that you are not yet worthy of it. You are saying, I am not enough unless I have it. That energy is repellent. It's rooted in lack, not abundance. And money, like all things drawn through natural law, responds to abundance. To become money is to shift your identity at the core. You stop seeing yourself as someone in pursuit of wealth and instead as someone who is already a living embodiment of value. You don't hustle for paper. You build yourself into someone whose very presence, ideas, and decisions carry financial gravity. You build your character, your skills, your mindset, and your discipline to such a level that money is naturally attracted to you. You become the source. This is why some individuals, even after losing everything, can rebuild empires again. It's not because of luck or connections. It's because they became wealth conscious. Their identity is wired for prosperity. They don't have to chase money because they've already become a magnet for it. Their thoughts, their routines, their beliefs, and their self-image are aligned with abundance. Money flows to them not because they seek it, but because they are aligned with the energy of creation, contribution, and service. Now understand this, as money is not a mystery. It follows law. It flows where it perceives value. And value is not just about what you do. It's about who you are while doing it. A man who delivers food may earn wages. A man who builds systems that feed millions earns wealth. The difference is not the effort. It's the level of value being delivered. And the level of value depends on who you've become. That's the transformation. You must stop running after money like a beggar chasing bread. Instead, become the bakery. Become the place where ideas are baked into results. Become the source from which others find nourishment, direction, or inspiration. When you become that kind of source, money cannot help but come to you. It is no longer a chase. It is a pull. Many people are trapped in cycles of struggle because they are taught to think in terms of income, not identity. They change jobs, pick up extra hours, switch industries, and still wonder why wealth does not find them. It's because the shift must happen within. Without changing the internal blueprint, the beliefs, thoughts, and emotional tone you carry around money, you will always be reacting to it rather than attracting it. When you become money, you think differently. You don't ask, how can I earn more? You ask, how can I become more? Because you realize that money is an echo, a reflection, a natural result of who and what you have become. People who embody this truth do not panic during recessions or setbacks. Why? Because they know that money was never the true source. They created it once, they can create it again. The wealth was always inside. That certainty, that calm, that deep internal power, it is the essence of becoming money. It means you've reached a level where your value is not dependent on markets, managers, or circumstances. It flows from you. And because of that, you are no longer a slave to the chase. You are the magnet. You are the cause. You are the source. When you truly grasp this, your entire relationship with money changes. You no longer see it as scarce, nor fear its absence. You understand that all the money you will ever need is already present in potential form. Within your ideas, your actions, your associations, and your discipline. When you invest in your own growth, you increase your ability to serve, solve, and scale. And money naturally responds to that equation. Gold does not chase men. Men chase gold. That's the way the world has operated for centuries. And yet hidden in this simple truth is a deeper insight, one that reveals why most people struggle financially, while a small percentage seem to effortlessly attract wealth. The world tells you to run after opportunity, to hustle endlessly in pursuit of something external. But the ones who truly prosper are those who have understood that the key is not to run after gold, but to become more valuable than gold itself. When you elevate your personal worth, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and practically, you begin to attract wealth naturally, not because you are chasing it, but because you are embodying something greater than it. To be more valuable than gold means becoming irreplaceable. It means becoming someone whose ideas, solutions, energy, or presence create impact and transformation wherever you go. People pay for solutions. People invest in confidence. People follow vision. And those who cultivate these traits within themselves rise above the masses who merely seek to trade time for money. You must understand that money follows value. It does not discriminate. It has no bias. It obeys the law of supply and demand. When you become a person in high demand, because of what you know, who you are, and how you serve, you do not need to run after money. It will find you. This idea contradicts what many are taught. From a young age, most people are conditioned to seek jobs, promotions, titles, external validations of success. But those who become more valuable than gold don't chase positions. They build themselves. They study when others relax. They grow when others complain. They create when others consume. And over time, they become so effective, so refined, so focused that the marketplace cannot ignore them. They shift from being seekers to being magnets. Becoming more valuable than gold means becoming a rare resource. Gold is prized because it is scarce, pure, and enduring. Likewise, when you cultivate rare skills, pure intent, and enduring character, you elevate yourself above the ordinary. Most people are average because they settle for being average. They do what's required, but never more. They follow the crowd, repeat the past, and fear the unknown. But those who understand their true power work to separate themselves, not by competition, but by transformation. They refine themselves like gold in the fire. They welcome pressure, knowing that pressure reveals purity. This process of self-elevation requires deliberate action. You must choose to build mental strength through learning and discipline. You must develop emotional resilience so that setbacks sharpen you instead of breaking you. You must embrace spiritual clarity so that your actions are guided by purpose, not desperation. And above all, you must take practical steps to increase your real-world value by acquiring knowledge that solves problems, by mastering skills that improve systems, and by offering services that move others forward. In doing so, you position yourself not just as another person in the market, but as the market itself. Gold has a universal appeal because it holds its value across time, cultures, and crises. Similarly, the person who becomes more valuable than gold does not lose relevance when trends shift. They adapt, they evolve, they remain useful because they are rooted in principle, not popularity. This type of individual is not shaken by economic downturns. They don't collapse when things go wrong. They are the ones others look to for direction and solutions. And because of this, their personal value only increases. Too many people focus on external indicators of success without developing the internal foundation that sustains it. But when you focus on becoming valuable from within, success is no longer something you pursue. It becomes something you express. You walk into rooms and doors open. You speak and people listen. You act and results follow. This is the power of becoming more valuable than gold. It means understanding that true wealth is built on character, capability, and clarity. Not cash, not connections, not chance. Every day you have the opportunity to refine yourself, to read what others ignore, to practice what others avoid, to execute what others delay. And each time you do, you add layers to your value. You become someone who is not merely seeking gold, but someone who can create it. Someone who understands that the real currency in life is not just money, but the ability to solve problems, influence outcomes, and inspire change. When you live with that level of intentionality, you naturally rise above scarcity because you are no longer waiting for opportunity. You are becoming it. Money begins not in the bank, but in the brain. Every fortune ever created, every empire ever built, every product, invention, or breakthrough began first as a thought. Before it became a thing, it was an idea, born in the mind of someone who dared to think beyond their present circumstances. Desire is the seed of that idea. It is the starting point of all riches, because nothing moves without it. Nothing changes, nothing improves, nothing grows. It is desire that wakes you up early, desire that keeps you focused, desire that drives you to do what others are unwilling to do. Without desire, talent lies dormant. Without desire, resources go unused. Without desire, the greatest mind can become the laziest body. Desire, however, is not a mere wish. A wish is weak. It is fleeting and dependent on mood. A desire that leads to riches must be burning. It must consume you. It must be so intense that it refuses to be denied. This kind of desire is not passive. It is not casual. It is not something you dabble in. It is an obsession, a definite purpose that takes hold of your mind and refuses to let go until it is realized. The reason most people never become wealthy is because they never move beyond wishing. They want more, but they don't want it bad enough. They talk about change, but they never demand it of themselves. When you study the lives of the wealthy, the inventors, the innovators, you see a pattern. They did not stumble into riches. They created it through a definite desire that was backed by faith, planning, and persistence. That desire became a dominating thought, a blueprint etched into the mind that began attracting the people, circumstances, and resources required to fulfill it. This is not magic. It is mental law. What you think about consistently with emotion and belief, you begin to move toward. And more importantly, it begins to move toward you. But for desire to become effective, it must be definite. Vague hopes do not produce clear results. You cannot simply say, "I want more money," and expect the universe to respond. You must define how much by when, and for what purpose. You must write it, speak it, visualize it. The mind works best when given clear instruction, and once your desire is specific, it becomes a target for the subconscious mind to lock onto. Your actions begin to align, your attention sharpens, your decisions gain clarity. Desire alone, however, must be reinforced by belief. Without belief, desire weakens. The mind cannot act on what it does not believe to be possible. This is why faith is essential. Faith is the emotional fuel behind desire. It is the conviction that what you seek is already yours in the unseen realm, and that your job is to bring it into form through action. Faith is not blind hope. It is trust in the process, confidence in your vision, and commitment to see it through even when results are not immediate. With desire and faith working together, your thoughts begin to carry magnetic power. They attract ideas, people, and situations in ways logic cannot explain. You begin to notice opportunities that others overlook. You take actions others avoid. You persist when others quit. There is another layer to this principle that is often missed. Desire not only activates your mind, it reprograms it. The subconscious mind is like soil. It grows whatever seed is planted. If you consistently plant seeds of lack, doubt, and fear, that is what will grow. But if you plant seeds of wealth, purpose, and abundance, those too will take root. The daily repetition of your desire, through affirmations, visualizations, and declarations, conditions your mind to expect wealth. And what the mind expects with belief, the body acts on with courage. This is why success is always an inside job first. No amount of strategy or effort can compensate for a mind that is filled with fear, doubt, or confusion. When your desire is weak, your energy is scattered. But when your desire is burning and definite, it aligns your entire being, your thoughts, emotions, and actions, toward a single outcome. That kind of alignment is rare, and it is powerful. It gives you momentum that most never experience. It makes you unstoppable, not because you never face obstacles, but because your desire refuses to let you surrender to them. It is important to realize that money is not an external force. It is a response, a reflection of how deeply you desire, how clearly you define, and how boldly you act. When your desire is strong enough, you begin to find ways instead of making excuses. You begin to ask better questions. You seek better solutions. You invest in yourself with confidence because you know what you want and why you must have it. That inner fire begins to burn away hesitation and doubt. It moves you, it shapes you, and it ultimately transforms you into the person capable of receiving what you once only dreamed of. Do not ask, "Where is my money?" before you've asked, "What have I given?" This one principle, if understood and practiced deeply, can transform your entire relationship with wealth. It flips the focus from receiving to giving, from taking to contributing, from waiting to creating. Money is not earned through need or desire alone. It is earned through service. It flows as a result of the value you bring to the lives of others. The person who consistently gives more than they are paid for will eventually be paid far more than they give. This is a law of compensation that does not fail. The marketplace rewards those who create value, solve problems, and meet needs. And the most successful people are those who make it a habit to always deliver more than what is expected. Most people approach money with a transactional mindset. They think in terms of, if I do this, I should get that. They do the minimum required, just enough to fulfill the task, and then wonder why they never get ahead. But the person who goes the extra mile, the one who stays late, who improves the system, who adds joy, energy, or clarity to a job, stands out in a world full of average performers. That extra effort does not go unnoticed. It builds reputation, attracts opportunity, and develops character. More importantly, it conditions the mind for abundance. Because when you give more than you're paid for, you are signaling to the universe that you trust in overflow, that you do not live in fear or lack or limitation. You operate from a place of generosity and strength. When you study the wealthiest individuals, you will see this principle in action. Before they were rich in dollars, they were rich in value. They became masters at solving problems for others. They saw what people needed, and they provided it with excellence, innovation, and consistency. They understood that money is a byproduct of usefulness. If you want more income, you must increase your impact. Ask not how to make money. Ask how to serve more people, solve bigger problems, or deliver higher quality. When you focus on giving first, money follows naturally. This giving principle does not just apply to business. It applies to every area of life. In relationships, the ones who give love, time, attention, and support without keeping score are the ones who build the strongest bonds. In careers, the employees who seek to lift others, who share knowledge and enthusiasm freely, are the ones who rise to leadership. In communities, those who contribute their time, skills, or voice are the ones who shape the future. Giving is not just an action. It is a mindset, a way of being, a philosophy of success that always brings returns. Some resist this idea because they've been burned before. They gave and it wasn't appreciated. They worked hard and didn't get promoted. They tried to be generous and someone took advantage. But the reward is not always immediate and not always from the direction you expect. The law of compensation does not forget. Every act of sincere service plants a seed. Some seeds sprout quickly, others take time, but all of them grow. The key is to detach from immediate outcomes and commit to the process of giving as a way of life. The harvest will come. It may not be on your schedule, but it will arrive in the form that is most needed at the time. To live by this principle requires faith. Faith that giving won't deplete you, but expand you. That serving others does not lower your power, but amplifies it. That money is not the cause of your effort, but the effect of your contribution. It also requires discipline. The discipline to give when it's inconvenient, to keep adding value when it's not instantly rewarded, to show up with excellence even when no one is watching, because the person you become through consistent giving is far more valuable than any paycheck. You build self-respect, confidence, and integrity. You become dependable, resourceful, and solution-focused. You develop the inner wealth that guarantees outer wealth. Money is always moving toward value. It gravitates toward those who improve things. It responds to usefulness and service. When you give more than you're paid for, you are positioning yourself ahead of the curve. You are creating future demand, building invisible bridges, and establishing trust long before the transaction. This is the long game of wealth building. It's not about taking shortcuts or finding hacks. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts abundance through consistent and meaningful contribution. There is a reason why the wealthiest individuals often say that their fortune lies not in their bank accounts, but in their mindset. True riches begin in thought, for thought is the only thing over which man has absolute control. You may not be able to control the market, the economy, or the actions of others, but you can control what you think about all day long. And what you think about consistently, you eventually become. Every action begins with a thought. Every decision, every risk, every innovation, every breakthrough first existed as an idea in someone's mind. This is why the mind is the first factory of wealth. If the machinery of thought is not clean, focused, and disciplined, no amount of external effort will produce lasting success. Your thoughts are the blueprint of your future. They shape your self-image, your expectations, your emotional patterns, and your behavior. If you think like a poor man, always fearing loss, always doubting your worth, always focused on survival, then even if you gain money, you will not keep it, because your inner world is still built on lack. But if you think like a wealthy man, focusing on value, creation, and possibility, then even in moments of difficulty, you will find ways to rise again. The mind governs the direction of your life. As the mind goes, so goes your business, your health, your relationships, and your bank account. But controlling your thoughts is not as simple as thinking positively once in a while. The mind must be trained, disciplined like a muscle. It must be constantly fed with empowering ideas, with definite purpose, with unwavering belief. Just as a garden must be weeded regularly to grow flowers, so must the mind be cleared of fear, doubt, and distraction. If you let your thoughts drift without intention, they will be shaped by your environment, by the opinions of others, by the news, and by the constant noise of the world. And most of that noise is filled with fear and limitation. To think independently, to think powerfully, requires effort. It means taking full responsibility for what you allow into your consciousness. Thought, when charged with emotion and backed by belief, becomes the most powerful force in the universe. It has the ability to alter the course of your life, because it shapes your decisions. And decisions are what change everything. When you believe you can do something, your mind begins searching for how. When you doubt, your mind finds reasons to quit. This is why two people can face the same situation. One sees opportunity, the other sees defeat. The difference is in how they think. One has trained the mind to seek solutions. The other has allowed the mind to sink into despair. You must learn to guard the gateway of your thoughts. You must feed your mind daily with vision, with purpose, with clarity. You must reject the thoughts that weaken you and accept only those that strengthen you. This is not self-deception. It is self-direction. Just as you wouldn't allow someone to pour poison into your drinking water, you should not allow destructive thoughts to take root in your mind. Thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become behavior, and behavior becomes results. If you want different results, you must start with different thoughts. The mind is also where faith is built. Faith is not simply belief in something unseen. It is the certainty that your vision will become reality if you persist. That certainty is born from thought. When you hold a thought long enough, with enough emotion, it becomes a belief. When you reinforce that belief through action and repetition, it becomes conviction. And conviction moves mountains. Conviction attracts resources. Conviction causes others to believe in you. But it all begins with a single thought, repeated, strengthened, and protected until it takes root. Many people sabotage their own success because they allow doubt to live rent-free in their minds. They entertain thoughts like, I'm not good enough. What if I fail? Or, it's too late. These thoughts, though subtle, create hesitation. Hesitation creates inaction, and inaction guarantees failure. If you want to change your life, you must change the dominant thoughts you carry with you every day. You must replace fear with purpose, replace doubt with decision, and replace confusion with clarity. Thought is the beginning of all achievement, and you are its master. There is a powerful shift that occurs the moment a person stops seeking permission to act and begins to take full ownership of their life. Wealth in its highest form is a reflection of responsibility, not just financial responsibility, but personal responsibility. The deep internal understanding that no one else is coming to save you, and that every result in your life is tied directly to your own choices, thoughts, and actions. The world will give you what you demand of it, not what you beg for. The man who walks in ownership, who takes command of his direction and refuses to blame, makes himself into a force that circumstances cannot control. He becomes a producer rather than a consumer, a leader rather than a follower, a master rather than a victim. Most people do not fail because of lack of opportunity. They fail because they have not assumed command over their own potential. They wait. They hesitate. They point fingers at the government, at their upbringing, at the economy, at everything but themselves. Ownership says, if it is to be, it's up to me. Ownership refuses to outsource power. It does not wait for ideal conditions. It creates them. And this mindset of radical responsibility is what transforms an average life into an exceptional one. Every time you accept full responsibility, you gain power. And with that power, you can build, you can shift, you can grow. The world rewards producers, those who create, innovate, and lead. Producers do not simply perform tasks. They generate results. They bring ideas to life. They solve problems and improve systems. They are not driven by wages alone, but by purpose and performance. When you shift from consumer thinking to producer thinking, you move into a realm of influence. Consumers take what is given. Producers shape what is possible. And the more value you produce, the more freedom you earn. Not just financial freedom, but freedom of time, choice, and direction. Ownership requires discipline. It demands that you act whether you feel like it or not. It means showing up, even when you are tired, even when you are doubted, even when no one else believes in your vision. It is easy to act when you are motivated. It is noble to act when you are wary. That is the kind of inner strength that builds trust with yourself. When you become a person who does what they say they will do, even when it's hard, you become a person that the world begins to rely on, invest in, and follow. There is no true wealth without self-leadership. You cannot lead others until you lead yourself. You cannot demand excellence from the world if you have not first demanded it from your own habits, decisions, and mindset. Self-leadership is not perfection. It is progress. It is the ability to look at where you are and declare, this is mine to change. And every time you act from that place, you become more powerful. Your confidence grows. Your clarity sharpens. Your influence expands. You no longer depend on outside permission to make bold moves. You operate from internal command. Ownership is also the willingness to accept the consequences of your actions. good or bad, and learn from them without excuse. It is about analyzing your failures with courage and correcting your path with humility. The man who owns his failures never repeats them. The man who blames others relives them. Blame is a trap. It gives away your power and ensures that nothing changes. But ownership sets you free. It gives you the ability to pivot, to adjust, to evolve. And evolution is the essence of wealth building. Those who grow earn. Those who remain stagnant fade. To live in ownership means you rise above the need for constant validation. You do not act because others are watching. You act because your mission demands it. You build your discipline like a warrior sharpens a sword, through daily repetition and relentless focus. And over time, that discipline compounds. It shows up in your work ethic, your relationships, your finances, and your ability to stay calm in chaos. Ownership brings stability because it removes the unpredictability of emotional reaction. You are no longer swayed by every opinion or setback. You operate from principle, not pressure. The marketplace can always sense the man who is in command of himself. He walks with a different energy. He speaks with conviction, not confusion. He does not shrink from challenge. He seeks it because he knows that growth is the reward of responsibility. And as he continues to lead himself with integrity, the world begins to open doors that were once closed. Opportunities arise not because he waited, but because he worked, because he made himself ready not just in skill, but in mindset.